Thanks for joining us on KGW News at noon. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. We start with a look at the results in the primary for Washington's 3rd Congressional District. And what they show us is a rematch coming this fall between Democratic incumbent Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez and her Republican rival Joe Kent. Gluesenkamp-Perez beat Kent 2 years ago, flipping Washington's 3rd District from red to blue.
It was a hotly contested race between these two in 2022. Gluesenkamp-Perez won the roughly 50.5% of the vote, flipping his seat, which again had been held by Republicans since 2011. She and Kent say they expected a rematch.
My hope is that by staying focused on being useful to my community, I have built a bridge that will make things easier, but you don't take anything for granted.
Marie is a tough opponent. I'm going to need every vote I can get, and I'm going to work very, very hard. We've already got a great start. We've got a unified Republican Party. I look forward to getting into the general election, talking with moderates, talking with undecided voters.
As a Let's check, Gluesenkamp-Perez received 47% of the vote in the primary. Kent received 38%.
The race for the governor nomination has also been called. Democrat Bob Ferguson got 46% of the vote, and Republican Dave Reichert had the second most votes at about 28%. That left them at the top of a list of 28 candidates who are all vying for governor. Ferguson was first elected state attorney general in 2012. Reichert served in Congress for 14 years and also as King County Sheriff. These two will square off in November's general election. Keep in mind, a Republican has not won the Washington governor's race since John Spellman did it 44 years ago in 1980.
To our fire coverage now. A new wildfire is burning in Washington's Skamania County. Photos taken as far as Hood River show smoke from the Williams mine fire. So far, it's burned about 3,000 acres. The lightning-caused fire started Monday night and is burning in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. That's west of Mount Adams. People north and east of Trout Lake are being told to evacuate right now. And people west and south of the lake are being told to be ready to evacuate at a moment's notice. Forest Service staff have also evacuated trails in the area. The fire remains at 0% contained.
Lightning is also the cause of the Elk Lane fire in Jefferson County. Since it started on Sunday, it's burned more than 5,000 acres between Lake Billy Chinook and Madras, with, again, like the last fire we talked about, no containment reported. It's also forced more Level 3 Go Now evacuation orders. Crews from outside Jefferson County are headed there to help.
And let's take a look at weather with Rod Hill and how it's impacting those fires out there.
Yeah, let's start with what we are seeing here locally in Portland, and that's wildfire haze that has really become noticeable this morning. If anything, it's going to continue to increase as you roll through the afternoon. So that's not cloud cover, that's smoke. Looking to the northeast, there's big pink right there from the Wells Fargo Tower. And that wildfire haze is thick enough that it actually held our temperature steady over the last hour. We did not go up. 71 degrees right now. Here's a look out in the gorge where it's particularly smoky as well. This is from the Oregon Veterans Home camera, and you're looking back to the east. Remember, we have that fairly new fire that's burning out toward Mount Adams, producing a lot of the smoke you're looking at here. It's 81 degrees out in the Dalles. So here's that smoke plume, thick smoke in Skamania County. It's a bit of a light north wind flow. It's transporting it across Clark County, downtown Portland. This shows at 4 o'clock this afternoon, smoky haze increasing all the way down into Salem. So visually we're seeing it. What about the air quality? It's moderate right now in downtown Portland, but it's unhealthy for sensitive folks to air quality ailments in parts of the Cascades, and then very unhealthy air down in parts of Deschutes County and into Lane County. Portland's forecast, I had us at 90, I've lowered us to 88, and quite frankly, if the wildfire haze thickens up, we may hold more like mid-80s this afternoon. The haze can act like cloudiness. It kind of blocks the heating potential of the sun. Your complete forecast is coming up.
All right, Rod, we'll see that in just a few minutes. Right now, though, back to our headlines. For the second straight day, the National Transportation Safety Board is questioning Boeing about the door plug blowout over Portland back in January. It happened on an Alaska Airlines flight around 16,000 feet in the air, causing that gaping hole in the side of a relatively new 737 MAX 9 plane. Boeing's senior officials said a contracted crew was brought in to fix damaged rivets near the door plug, which Boeing said workers had removed and then reinstalled. But evidence later showed the retaining bolts were not reinstalled. The head of the NTSB said this week that the hearing is all about getting real answers.
This isn't a PR campaign for Boeing. What we want to know is what happened.
Boeing said it is redesigning its door plug to make it more fail-safe.
For some people, this won't come as much of a surprise, but a report released today did not give Oregon glowing marks for its infrastructure and bridges and roads. Joey Neary has a look at how Oregon compares to other states.
It's no secret that the infrastructure in Oregon is in need of repair, from aging bridges to roads.
You know, the idea of the report card is not to elicit concern, it's really to elicit action. It is to show where we're at right now in this point in time.
Right now, let's just say the report card for Oregon's infrastructure isn't pretty. Marcia Gildert Murphy is the president of the American Society of Civil Engineers. At a press conference outside of the Capitol on Tuesday, she laid out the Oregon infrastructure report.
So if you're bringing this report card home, your future doesn't look bright.
The report graded 12 different infrastructure categories. The best grade Oregon got was a C, and when it came to our bridges and ports, it was even worse at a C-.
When it comes to roads and bridges, we may still be considered passing, but we're on a downward trajectory. All of our roads and bridges have an expiration date.
A C- for bridges. Meanwhile, the report gave Oregon a D when it came to dams, transit, and wastewater. In the 7 of the 12 categories, Oregon scored higher than the national report card, though.
Are we willing to pay for the things we need? And if we are, how are we going to fund that? How are we going to tax? It comes right down to that.
As this report suggests, there's still a lot to do.
We have got to come up with a new funding mechanism because gas tax is going to continue to go down. And we don't have the political nerve to raise it with inflation every single time we need to. So we need to come up with a mechanism that stays with inflation.
And the cost to bring up the state's grade point average?
Saying not just Oregon needs to be concerned. We as Americans need to be concerned about where we're investing our money to look for our future generations.
Isn't going to come cheap to fix.
All right, it's time for a look at weather with Rod Hill. And Rod, when you step outside, you definitely see the remnants of the wildfire smoke out there.
A lot of the smoke today is coming from that fire up around Mount Adams. So the gorge is seeing big time increase of wildfire haze. Certainly downtown Portland, to me, it's the turning out to be the smokiest day I recall this summer.
In Portland, at least, right?
Yeah. Here's a look at that air quality map. Now, the alerts from NWS are still down in Roseburg, Burns. Looks like they've just added a new alert up into Deschutes County, where the air quality has been unhealthy. I mean, you still got a red flag warning down in Lakeview. Earlier, we talked about the air quality in Portland. It's now down to moderate. And if anything, more of these green dots will become moderate, meaning decreasing air quality throughout the afternoon. You get closer to Mount Hood and you've got unhealthy air and then very unhealthy air, as I mentioned, down in the southwest corner of our state. So we're dealing with that today. We expect the haze that we have today to be at least as bad tomorrow because the wind direction is switching. Today it's more north. Tomorrow it's actually more northeast. So you could argue that we would have more smoky haze tomorrow than we end up with today. And if that's true, maybe these forecast highs I'm showing you for tomorrow are too high because as I mentioned earlier in the show, the wildfire haze acts like cloud cover and it kind of helps reduce the warming from the sun. But for now, we've got Portland's high at least in the mid-90s tomorrow to as warm as the upper 90s. Kelso 93, Salem 98, Astoria 82, and the Dow's 98 degrees. This is a headline tomorrow that's prompted us to alert a KGW weather impact alert for the one-day heat spike that we're going to be getting tomorrow with those valley highs 95 to 99. Today, I doubt if we make it to 90 because of the wildfire haze. Tomorrow, we will at least be up into the 90s, and it will depend on how much haze we have in terms of how high we go, but you'll definitely want to reduce activity and stay hydrated and plan your day tomorrow accordingly. Here's Cannon Beach. We had some clouds there early this morning, but boy, that's beautiful right now. Blue sky over Haystack Rock. Lots of folks out at the noon hour enjoying a temperature of 69 degrees. Here comes the banner changed, but the camera didn't change. Technology, don't you love it? The Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Washington County also shows that we have some smoky haze, and you can see it here on the east side too. That's Camas Meadows Golf Course. Now, when you drop southward, here's the Oregon Garden Resort camera down in Silverton. It's not as hazy, but remember, I showed you earlier in the show, the wildfire haze is expected to transport southward down the valley during the afternoon. So you folks in Salem should look for some increasing haze in your sky as we go through the coming hours. At noon, it is 75 down in Salem. It's 81 in the Dalles, 85 in Baker City. Still expecting 90-degree temperatures in central and eastern Oregon. Here are the high temperatures at 4. right about 90 in John Day, 93 Pendleton, well up into the 90s in the Dalles. This shows Salem at 90, Portland at 88 degrees. I've actually, based on the noon temperature and the increasing wildfire haze, I've lowered us to 88. We may not get that warm. For now, we'll leave tomorrow's KGW weather impact alert at 96 degrees. But again, maybe not that hot if the haze is thick enough. Kind of a good news, bad news situation. Friday, 90. The weekend still in the 80s and still some 70s to start next week, which should feel very, 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 very nice.
How nice?
Very, 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 very.
You can't see Rod Hill, but he's bowing right now. All right. We are continuing our Olympic coverage today, turning our focus to food.
That same Rod Hill we just saw a moment ago is helping us with this. Rod put down his forecasting tools to learn the art of being a French pastry chef. Yeah, my throat's a little trash today. You're clearly laughing at my throat and my voice 2 feet away from me.
No!
Rod Hill learned the art of being a French pastry chef from the man behind Portland's very own St. Honoré Boulangerie.
Je m'appelle Rodney. I'm ready to go. Dominique?
Bonjour!
Je m'appelle Rodney.
Oui, je m'appelle Dominique. Enchanté.
Very nice to meet you. This is for me?
Votre uniforme.
What are we making today?
Let's go to work.
We're
We're making chouquette.
chouquettes. Let's go.
Let's go.
So this will be an authentic, as if I were on the streets in Paris, enjoying myself.
Yes, oui, oui.
Let's begin.
A chouquette. This is our sort of a signature product here at St. Honoré.
We're simply going to melt the butter in the water, is that
And
right?
bring it to a boil. And watch and wait. And watch and wait.
Does anybody use more butter than the French?
Ask my fiancée. She will tell you how amazed she is when she sees me cooking and adding more butter and more butter and more butter. We're gonna add the flour here. And you're gonna want to start stirring. Use those muscles.
Is it supposed to be?
Use those muscles. Last thing that we need to do is add our eggs. Do a few at a time.
Okay.
And then you pour it in that container here. There you go.
I don't see any shell.
So,
Oh, I do.
yeah.
That is
What is this? What kind of work is this? We're gonna put the shells here.
Good grief. I can't believe I did that.
So you pinch it like this.
Pinch it.
And then twist. I push, stop,
Just a little,
and cut.
Little whip at the end. What you're saying, cutting.
Yeah. Push, 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 stop, cut. Perfect.
Better.
Okay, a little bit more space in between. No further away. Yep. Oh, stop, cut. All you need now is practice. Take a handful of sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very coarse, like you said.
Very
earlier.
coarse, yeah. And then you just kind of toss it on top.
Okay, I'm missing half of mine.
This is a very unique, only in France you're gonna see this product.
Yeah, see, no,
It's not bad.
That's not
bad. Santé.
Santé.
À la tienne.
À la
À la tienne.
À la tienne.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. And to you.
But in France, we'll do that with a glass of wine, not with a cup of coffee.
Ah, that makes sense.
Hey, Rod's on the job. Gotta be careful.
Dominique was such a nice gentleman. And we did. I don't think Eric Patterson showed you the pictures of their case where they have their fancy pastries. I mean, those chouquettes we had, very tasty, very simple.
Yeah.
But they have all the fancy stuff that you just look at and just go, oh my goodness gracious. And it's all so good. I bought 2 big boxes to take home to my family. Every single thing we had was marvelous.
Did you buy 1 box to bring to work?
Well, they were kind of expensive. They're not cheap,
fair
but
enough.
they are very good.
Thanks.
Tasty way to wrap up the show. They've actually been around for 20 years now, so congrats to them for a long stretch of good baking here in Portland, St. Honoré Boulangerie. And with that, my friends, I believe we're done. Unless you have anything else to share. Or you have anything else to share.
I'm hungry now, so I'm gonna go eat something.
Buy you something one of these days.
Lunch break.
To the studio.
Give me some M&Ms.
Oh, that's pretty.